Hey, good morning, everybody. It's terrific to have all of you join us, and a successful person is someone who does something they love to do. And my guest this week does exactly that with whatever she does. And I'm pleased to welcome from Hong Kong, live from Hong Kong, Miss Queen Brown.
Thank you, Brad. Good morning to you and good evening to those who are in Asia. And I think
Yeah,
good morning to those who are in Europe as well. And it's really a great honor and pleasure to be here to have a great conversation with Brad.
that's fantastic. And Queenie is the regional head for Asia for On Track International, and she's an organizational and career coach. So she's had a very diverse set across Asia and is very familiar and has actually become over the years an expert on culture because she's
I was wondering, you know, you're the only person that I know who experienced war. How did you survive and how did you live after the war? She saw friends and relatives that who died in the war right in front of her, but she looked very normal to me, to us. And from her, I learned two things. Number one is um, how she can become so resilient whenever there are challenges. Number two is how she sees happiness because she almost died and she saw people dying. Happiness to
right.
her definition. So this is just some of the stories. So if people like to know more, happy to share
Yeah.
more.
How did she see happiness? I'm curious.
Interesting one. Happiness, her, she worked hard to make money, but it's not just about the money. And she also looked at what would give her the fulfillment, okay? Because she knows that she might not be the same tomorrow. War, she experienced war. She would have died. So she almost like she dreamed as if she will live forever. However, she lived as she were to die tomorrow. So she was very bold. And if this is something that she's happy, she has passion about, like in the tourism, she just really enjoy her work. And she have fun, enjoy the time with the family. And that's her happiness. Simple.
Wow. Yeah,
It's
that's
not,
quite an
yeah.
experience. Mm, yeah.
So that really give me inspire me a lot of how I see the world and how to actually put things in perspective.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Queenie. You've coached probably a countless number of people in Asia, and um, having done that, and you're still doing that actually.
Yes.
What have you found that there's a one big common issue that needs to be worked on, in your opinion, or two?
Well, because where I'm based in Hong Kong. So
Hmm.
our clients are local people, Hong Kong people, Asian, including some of them are in other countries, but majority of them are Asian. I found one common characteristics for these people. They are all in a very senior position, technically super strong, and they're really good in their job. However, I do see that one common observation from them is that they tend to be very shy, and a lot, especially I coach people in the global organization. Whenever we look at the talents in the region, they don't always get the feedback or the recognition as truly reflect their capability. So they tend to be very shy, and a lot of the senior managers are saying that, oh, these people are lack of presence, and they are just very quiet. So one of the things that I see them is that I always tell them, look, you need to tell people what you like to do, not only what you can do, but what you like to do and what you enjoy to do. Okay, And one of the things that we always talk about networking as well. Talk to people. Interestingly, many of the Asians are just too shy. I think it's probably could be because of their upbringing. They want to be humble, and they want to let people go first. And I always the last one to share my view. And they tend to keep things within themselves. Not they sometimes they are just not they can't articulate what they really aspire for. So these are some of the common behaviors that I observe when I talk to them about, oh, you want to expand your networking, reach out to more people. Interestingly, they many of them think, oh no, I just do my job and I don't want to owe people a favor. I don't want to owe people something, I just
Mm.
want to work with her. I said, no, you talk to people because people can give you, their views, their advice, and they will they're like a sounding board, able to tell you what you might have overlooked or some of the blind spot or get me new ideas. And this is how I benefit myself by talking with different people.
Mhm. Have you seen a difference in, we're talking about a very important part of Asian culture right now. And have you seen a difference between those Asian employees that work for a foreign company and those that work for a local company?
I do.
What is
For,
that? Mm.
for those who work in the foreign company, because of the way of working, the working culture is more westernized in a way. So that helped them to shape, then they can be a little bit more bold in doing things, more open and direct. But for those like local or China-based company, they're still very hierarchical, and they're very obedient in a way. One of the common topics we talk about is having courageous conversation. If you have a view, are you courageous enough to raise your point, even though it might be in a disagreement with the senior leader? So we
So how do you advise somebody to draw that courage out of them? It's one thing to talk about, well, be more bold, be courageous. How do you have an example of somebody that you've coached, and what did you say to them?
first thing I said to them is just look at what do you want to get out of it, this whole thing. What do you want to achieve? You want to do good for the organization? Do you like your boss? Do you like your team to be successful? Because what your view is important. And if you believe you can add value, you should find the right way that you are comfortable to pass on the message, to express your opinion. So first, ask yourself, are you adding value? What kind of outcome do you want? Do you just want to bully someone, or do you want to just, I just want to be disagreement? Or do you want to have a better outcome as a team, as a department, as the function or organization? What is your intention? All you need is to find a way, adapt yourself to the culture, to the way of working, or even to the style of the recipient. That's it. That's all you need to work on. But
Mhm.
don't miss that very important opinion or views. Because if you believe that you can add value, you should do it. Why? Because you care about the organization. You care about the people. If
Mm.
you don't have to do anything.
Hmm. Yeah, hopefully leaders will hear your advice so that they can help one understand that culture, right? Because this is a cultural issue, um, and the real challenge. A great leader is somebody who can get the extroverts to shut their mouth, to put it bluntly, and create a culture where the introverts can speak, right, and share their wisdom and kind of level the field so that everybody is able to do that. So I hope there's a lot of leaders out there taking your advice on this. So That's great.
Every voice is a good voice, and we should hear
Absolutely.
your voice.
Absolutely. Queenie, what's your personal purpose? Do you have a personal purpose?
Yes, I do. I do.
Mm.
And one thing that I really enjoy is my purpose is to help people so that they can release their potentials and talents, because I have a strong belief that every single of us has our own talents and superpower. And I believe God is fair. I might be good in one area and you're super good in the other area, but we are all complementing each other one way or the other.
Hmm.
So my purpose is, how I can help and support people to thrive, to become better, to unleash their potential. So that's why I choose what I like to do. And if everyone, I mean, if people can choose what they like to do, and I think they would be automatic get it's almost like a auto fuel that you get the energy all the time, because
Hmm.
you do what you're asked to do, you do what you choose to do.
Absolutely. It's like I often get perplexed. When you've got I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. When you've got two people and you've got the same weather, the same access to gymnasiums, the same access to libraries, to computers, you name it, right? And yet you have two completely different outcomes in terms of ambition, knowledge, feelings of self-confidence, self-esteem, and different things that way. And I think the challenge of leaders is to draw that out in everybody, because everybody has access to the same resources,
Yep,
you know, right? And so,
I agree.
and that's the real challenge, but also that has to come from the person that you're coaching, I would assume as well, that they at some point need to realize that they have access to all of this too. And even if they haven't tapped that in the past, they can do it now, right? Or do it tomorrow. It's never too late, right?
Yes, and in fact, Brett, I'm glad that you said this. In fact, I do find a lot of people are very reluctant to make a start or to
Mm.
make the change, even though they know, oh, this is something that I like and I think I want to do it. Some people tend to be too safe, and also really too worrying about what if it doesn't go well. And I always say that it's just like the Olympian athletes. There's only one champion, as they
Mm.
still try their very best, and you have a higher chance than them.
Yeah. Don't drive the car with one foot on the brake all the time, because it will certainly hold you back, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's a great analogy and to the Olympic athlete. And the so when somebody reaches retirement, how do you think that they ask certain questions about, oh, I wish I would have done this or that? And have you run across those circumstances? And if so, have you been able to guide other people that haven't been retired to learn that lesson?
Well, myself, I'm also learning.
Hmm.
Did my career transition from a corporate world to be on my own as an independent consultant. I do coach a lot of people in the career coaching, especially those are more mature, that they have been in the workforce for quite a long time. They many of them would think that, oh, I can wait until I retire to do something. I find that what they have within is just within a very small and narrow remit. A lot of them, the time, the effort, the energy, I'm not saying it's wrong, it's on the job. But also, I think having a nice balance is important, to prepare yourself to do other things. I think in the new world now, there's no clear boundary of retirement or not. In Hong Kong, for example, retirement age is 60. But you find that people age 60 is still super young. And if they don't start thinking of what they like, their passion, their hobby, things that they can do, it might be a little bit late. If they say, I wait until I retire, I will do this. Reason for that, your physical fitness, number one. The world, we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. Like in the pandemic, we can't travel. I know someone who have just retired. Oh, I work so hard. I don't take annual leave. I don't enjoy the time with my family because I will save it until I retire. And now they're stuck. So I would think that always prepare. And when I talk to people about their professional coaching, how to excel, I always tell them left hand pocket is about your profession. Right hand pocket always have it in what are the things that you would like to do, your dreams or aspirations. Think about even when you were very young. It could be a hobby, it could be some business. I have a lot of people telling me, oh, I want to start a business. Get it going now. Get prepared now. Because there's so many skills and things that you can learn. And I don't advise people to draw a very solid line, one thing at a time. We all can now work agilely in agility, that we can juggle a few balls at the same time. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So basically, Queenie, have courage, be bold, don't be afraid to dream, don't hide your dreams, and don't have any regrets when you retire,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you don't have the worry and fear, because you can always one of the things is you're not signing up for your life. You can fail and you can learn. Okay. And if you started earlier, your ability to recover or to restart will be even stronger. And like you said, Brad, have the courage and also be curious. And the third one, I always remind myself is care. Care about yourself and care about others. You need to look after yourself. A lot of us, we talk about well-being, not just physical fitness, the emotion. Get prepared, get the wellness, strengthen it, your mind and everything. And care about yourself, because without you can't do anything. I want to do this and I want to do this. So take care of yourself and take care of others.
That's great advice, Queenie. And, you're absolutely right. Take care of that body because unfortunately it's the only one you have to live in. you can't replace that. Yeah, exactly. So for all of you today that are watching this, that thought about exercising and you didn't do it, you better get with the program. So, because it'll certainly benefit. But I think, Queenie, we're just about out of time. Any final pieces of advice for the audience?
My final piece of advice is I have never seen someone who said, I regret that I have tried that, for the people that I coach. The only comment that I hear from them is, I should have done this earlier. So
I should have done it.
Yeah, I should have done this earlier.
I should have done it. So that's great. That's great. That's great parting advice, Queenie. And so I think that's probably the most useful piece of advice that I've also run across in dealing with people from around the world that don't have regrets. Okay. As you live your life, live it and live it today. Live in the present moment. You don't want to say to yourself when you're 75 and you finally do stop working that I wish I would have done that. You can do that. You can do that today, even if you're working full time. Work hard on yourself. Okay. And ideally work harder on yourself than you do on your job. You can create the time to do that.
Yep. My final piece, final one. If you don't work for your dreams, someone will hire you to work for their dreams.
That's great. Great advice. Okay. Work for your own dreams, not somebody else's.
Yeah.
Thank you, Queenie. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and thank all of you for tuning in to Minutes with Brett Live this week with Queenie Lou from Hong Kong. Next week, the cameras are going to stay in Hong Kong, and I'll have another very special guest from Hong Kong to bring to you, and I'll announce the details of that next Tuesday. So thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in, and have a terrific day or evening, depending on where you are.